G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/relationship advice. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and tell me what you think of all these stories. And what advice would you give? Posted by user ThrowRA Hangup, titled, I'm being shunned because I, 23 male, stole a potential date away from my friend who's also 23 male. Throwaway account, and all names have been changed. I and my friends were invited to join a bottomless brunch with a group of girls on Saturday. In the UK, quarantine has been lifted, so bars and pubs are opened again. And to celebrate, we wanted to go out. My friend's Mark's girlfriend Jess invited us along, even though we didn't know the group of girls. We had made our own plans throughout the day. Bars are open, but only bookings, not walk-ins, but decided to pop in and see them. The group of girls we ended up meeting at brunch were all very beautiful, and honestly, I felt a little bit insecure. I could say I'm more average looking, but definitely not model material like some of these girls were. Anyway, on arrival, the group of girls were scattered around, but my group of 5 settled in the booth with the girls left, and we started casual conversations. Some girls were already pretty drunk, and it seemed quite a fun atmosphere. Wanting to be nice, I decided to get the jug of mimosa and give everyone top-ups. As I got to one girl though, she politely declined as she was only drinking orange juice. My friend Tom starts asking why she's not drinking, and the girl explains that she just doesn't drink. Tom couldn't seem to understand why she'd come to a bottomless brunch and not drink, and kept asking her why she wasn't drinking. This girl handled his questions well, and kept saying that she used to drink, but doesn't anymore. Anyway, things got awkward when Tom finished with, well, you sound incredibly boring. But this girl just laughed and said, haha, yeah, I guess I am. Embarrassed for him, I made a feeble apology before following Tom back to our group. It was then that we decided to head over to our own booking at a different bar. I didn't bring up Tom being rude, as we didn't want an argument, so just went on with the day. The day was a lot of fun, and a lot of drinks were flowing. It wasn't until about 10 PM we decided to head elsewhere, but it turned out a lot of places were shutting early. Annoyed, my friend Mark, oh hi Mark, called his girlfriend to see where she was, and Jess told us she was heading back to her flat, and for us to come back as well for an after party. We weren't all that enthused, as her flat was quite out of the way, but decided that if we couldn't find anywhere to go, we'd just go back to her flat. Jess ended up coming to meet us, and asked us again if we wanted to come over, telling us the girls from the brunch would be there. It was then she got Tom's attention, and excitedly told him she just had to properly introduce him to her friend Lily. Reason being, Tom is massively into motorbiking, watching races, and he rides himself. And turns out this Lily is also a motorcyclist. This piqued Tom's attention, and he was eager to meet her, so he wanted to go. I, on the other hand, was more reluctant. I am quite socially anxious anyway, so didn't really feel all that comfortable going to a party with people that I didn't know. But it was 4 against 1 in my group, so off we went. Getting to the flat, the group of girls were already there. The majority of our group went off to mingle, and the first thing Tom says is, "Where's the biker chick?" Jess laughs and looks around the room before pointing at a girl standing on the terrace, and as karma has it, the girl that was pointed out to be Lily the biker chick was none other than the girl Tom had insulted earlier that morning. Tom's face dropped a bit and asked again if she was actually the motorbike girl, and Jess, sensing something was wrong, asked why. Tom tells Jess what he said, and Jess just rolls her eyes and tells him he's an idiot. Lily is the most interesting person I've ever met. That's why I thought you'd like her, as she's into racing and motorbikes. And from there, Jess proceeds to tell us that not only is she a motorcyclist, but she's also a stunt driver and rider, and also rally races. Tom was floored, and still in his haste, asked to be introduced. The introduction went as well as you'd expect. He went over with Jess, they were introduced, asked if she minded standing out on the terrace with her to chat, and Lily turns and says, "Nah, I think I'll be too boring for you," and walks inside. Tom, obviously embarrassed, but also gutted he screwed an opportunity with this girl, just slinks back inside and sits in the corner. Though throughout the night he did try and offer Lily drinks, to which she declined, telling him she preferred to get her own drinks. Later during the night, I somehow ended up talking to Lily, and honestly, talking to her was nerve-wracking, but also just really nice. She turned out to be a really lovely, down-to-earth girl with so many cool stories about what she does. I mentioned I loved snow sports, and she said she snowboarded. It was basically just an ongoing non-stop conversation. There was no awkward moments, just two people enjoying one another's company. And what really resonated with me was that usually at parties, I needed to be drunk to have a good time, or at least have a drink to hold. Don't know why, but with my anxiety, I need something to hold. With Lily, I didn't need that, and because she wasn't drinking, I felt comfortable not drinking also. It was such a pleasant feeling. In the early hours of the morning, as the party came to an end, I built up the courage to ask Lily on a date, and to my surprise, she said yes. I was over the moon. This beautiful, cool girl that was way out of my league had agreed to give me her number. I was practically giddy when we said our goodbyes and almost ran back to my group from excitement. Though that was short-lived, as Tom, in his jealousy, had been watching us talking most of the night. He started to berate me, and in my pettiness, asked him if she was too good for me, why would she give me her number? Tom just about flew off the handle and demanded I give him the number as it was meant to be his. I told him how ridiculous he was being, but he wouldn't drop it. By the next morning, he told all of our friends that I'd stolen the girl away from him. And what makes it worse is that everyone already knew Jess wanted to set up Tom and Lily, so now it seems that I got in the way intentionally. No one heard his insult at brunch, and no one heard him tell the truth to Jess. I keep telling him he screwed it up himself, but I've basically been turned against. I have even asked Jess to tell people what Tom told her, which she did, but the guys are now saying regardless what Tom said, I should have been talking Tom up. If Lily was happy to talk to me, I should have used that as an opportunity to talk about Tom, or at least invite him into the conversation. If I go on this date, I'll basically lose my friendship group. It's ridiculous. I think finding a girl like Lily is one thing, but to actually have a date with her is another thing altogether. Though I'm now wondering if I'm being selfish by taking away a date with Lily, which originally was meant to be Tom's. I just don't know if I should throw away all my longtime friends for a girl that I may or may not even end up being in a relationship with. Ray Z says, "Go on the date and have a nice time. Everyone is overreacting, and this will blow over in a few weeks. Might I add, find some new bro fans to hang out with. This current group should be high-fiving you and razzing Tom for being the douche nozzle that he is." I'm a lifelong non-drinker. I cannot tell you how many Toms I've met over the years. I've even had them try to spike my drink for a laugh. Oh my god, that's terrible. Screw him and screw all of them. Not drinking is incredibly normal these days. Far more so than it was 20 years ago when I was a university student in the UK. This is sweet karma, and I'm very glad for OP. He is the instrument of it. Also, Tom has no claim to her. Lily decides who she wants to date. She is not an object to call dibs on, she's a person who decided she didn't want to talk to Tom. What is this, middle school? Thank you. Since when can you call dibs on another person? They have feelings and they get to be a part of the decision-making process of who they want to date. It's so creepy these people have no respect or consideration for Lily's choice. She made it clear she doesn't like Tom, but they are treating her as if she belongs to him somehow, after all he did was belittle her. Idiot friends there. That's just gross, and she's not property a man gets to call dibs on. I would just tell them once, Tom was rude and insulting to her, and she wasn't interested in him. She was not Tom's girl to steal. Anyone who believes some bro-code bullcrap that a woman is something to be bartered or stake a claim to can go kick rocks. If things work out with Lily, her companionship is going to be far more fulfilling than anything Tom could provide OP, that's for sure. To confirm this one with you, you aren't in the wrong here. Why do I feel like Tom is only heated because he is usually the one who gets the girls? I guess his ego is hurt badly, to be fair. Lily isn't an object, so if she decides to go on a date with you, that's her decision. You're the one who didn't insult her, and you're the one who actually was decent enough to get to know her properly. If you both had a connection, I would genuinely stay. Screw Tom and take the chance. Tom will need to put on his big boy pants and eat humble pie. You're not throwing around your friendship. Tom is. His entitlement for a girl he never originally liked is ringing alarm bells. He should understand your POV and your character. If he was a decent friend, he would support you and want you to be happy. You're exactly right. Tom has always been the ladies' man, whereas I've been the quiet one. I guess he just can't stand the fact that his no-game friend got the girl. Exactly. He's thinking with two heads. I'm a bit astounded at your friend's logic as well. That's no fair at all, and you're definitely feeding his ego. They all need to get over the fact that Lily isn't obligated to date Tom, and you aren't obligated to give Tom the chance he screwed up. This could really be your person, OP. Take the chance and be happy. Posted by user ThrowRA Fiancé Wait. Titled, My 23 female fiancé, 24 male, has gotten way too overweight, and I'm now having second thoughts about marriage. So we've been together since we were 18. He proposed last April, to which I was so happy about. Back then, he was overweight by maybe 50 pounds. He'd gained this over the course of college. While it's of course not great, it also wasn't a deal breaker for me. I still enjoyed having sex with him, and he was still active enough that we could live a normal life and have fun together. Since then, he's gone on to gain nearly 100 more pounds in a little over a year. He weighs over 300 pounds. It is ridiculous at this point. I completely understand eating a crappy cafeteria vending machine microwave diet when you're in college, plus the stress in late night studying or partying where snacking is standard, but this far exceeds that. His habits did not improve after college, they just got worse. I've lived with him since our junior year and can attest that he eats far more junk food now, not less. Despite me shopping and making healthy, appropriately sized meals for both of us. Not complaining about that, I actually loved cooking and trying new recipes. I'm just pointing out that he won't eat healthy, even though he doesn't have to put in any effort to do so. Also, frick food delivery apps. Seriously? No hate at all to the drivers trying to make some more money, but on the customer end, I feel like the sheer 24/7 instant access to fast food has almost become a crutch to him. He has to order something almost every day. Never mind the hole it's drilling in our budget. He can't seem to resist this constant availability, knowing he can get whatever he wants whenever he wants it without even having to leave the house. This far predates quarantine, by the way. I can feel my sexual interest dwindling by the day. It feels horrible because I still love him for the person he is, but the physical part just isn't there anymore. It's a lack we both notice. The problem is, he's not particularly motivated to do anything about it because his sex drive has decreased in an inverse relationship to his weight gain. He basically figures, we're just equally not feeling like having much sex these days. He doesn't connect that he's doing something to cause this, it's not just a fluke. And it's not only about his size either. It's also his tendency to just sit on the couch on his laptop and snacking all day. We used to do more things together. I've tried many times to get him to do stuff I know he's interested in, or used to be, but he usually turns it down in favor of the internet. I find it hard to find attraction to him when that's all he does with his day. I've tried talking to him about all of this. He alternates between saying that he's not overweight and saying it's not a big deal because he doesn't have any medical problems. But he can't know that for certain because he hasn't been to the doctor in a while. In general, he sidesteps my worries by making jokes and acting really casual about it. Our wedding plans are pending due to COVID, but we decided we'll probably go ahead with just a very small official ceremony in September. Being so close to making this commitment to him, as he is right now, is seriously starting to give me pause. I don't want my husband to be like this for the rest of his life. I don't want him to die young. I mean, 100 pounds in a year? So where is he by the time he's 30 at that rate? I'm not sure why he doesn't see a problem. He seems content with how things are. He says he isn't depressed, and I haven't pushed it, but did ask a couple of times and he didn't seem to understand why I was asking. I do know depression or other mental illness can cause things like this, and I know depression cannot always be seen by the people around you, but we are quite emotionally open with each other. He's never been a guy who struggles to talk about his feelings or problems, so this is unusual to me. He is caring towards me, goofy and chipper as always in his daily attitude. His hygiene is fine. You wouldn't think anything was different if not for how he eats garbage and usually doesn't want to do anything that'd take him away from the computer or his phone for more than an hour. Could he still be depressed, do you think? What do I do about this? If he's struggling with something, I want to support him. On the other hand, if it's just laziness and not caring, I honestly don't think I could deal with that if it never changed. How do I tell the difference? As harsh as it sounds, you may need to sit down with him and tell him exactly what you told us. Stress to him that this is a huge deal for you and potentially is a deal breaker for you if things don't change. Sometimes we don't realize how bad things have gotten until others give us a reality check. I wish you the best though. How do I get him to take me seriously? He's joked his way out of the conversation at least half a dozen times. Maybe I'm not being firm enough. This alone is a red flag. You two are unable to talk about a serious problem, you are unhappy enough to end the engagement, and he is either unaware or in denial about that. This is a major disconnect. And yes, be firmer and more direct. I am not happy and I am not willing to continue like this. I want to cancel the wedding for now. I want a life where we can engage in physical activities, have a great sex life, budget together, and be on the same page. We do not have that right now. So you need to go to the doctor and address your physical and mental health. We both need to go to a therapist to improve our communication and connection. Until those things happen, the engagement is on hold. This is a great way to state it. Do not get married. Please don't get married. Do not consider marriage until this is solved. Not a promise or plan, an actual solution demonstrated. It's not about the weight. You were not on the same page about budgeting. You aren't enjoying the same activities. You aren't having sex. You aren't communicating. Any of these issues would be enough to pump the brakes. You guys need to solve all of these. Hit pause on the wedding, get counseling ASAP. If he doesn't understand this is a deal breaker, be blunt and honest and direct until he listens. Yeah, seriously, there is so much wrong with this relationship and she is just having a hard time seeing it from the inside out. Hun, it's bad from the outside in. Leave him. Find someone who can keep up with you, who will be a part of the team and not dead weight. It doesn't even sound like he respects you because he keeps just laughing off serious conversations. Jesus. I actually ended an engagement over a problem like this. Of course, we both gained a few pounds after graduating high school, as most people do. But he just got absolutely out of control. Granted, the guy also let his hygiene go as well. He became obsessed with World of Warcraft, and after I moved out, he literally would sit in the computer room in our house, eat, and chain smoke. We're cordial and friends on Facebook right now because this was 10 years ago. We have a lot of mutual friends. But he never did get serious about taking care of himself and is now morbidly obese. His teeth are yellow and he constantly just wears huge cut-off tank tops, camo cargo shorts, and Crocs. This could be your chance to dodge that bullet. You don't want to be 10 years down the road like, now I'm stuck with this. Is Demur says, it's possible that he has an eating disorder and is addicted to the natural mental reward we receive when we eat. He doesn't have any medical problems now, but he will. Obesity leads to knee problems, back problems, hormonal problems, decreased sex drive, and heart disease. I am currently obese and struggle with my relationship with food. Though I'm too lazy to do anything about it most days, I at least know this is a problem that needs to be fixed. I'm only saying this because I want to make sure you know I'm not some super healthy person being judgmental. You need to be honest. You don't need to be hurtful, but you need to have an open, honest conversation with him about how you feel. If y'all are as close or in sync as you claim, then this should not be a huge feat. You care about him, and you are allowed to have standards. You are allowed to want to do things and be upset when your partner no longer likes to do the things that you like to do. You don't have the right to change him, but you do have the right to talk to him about, express your concern, and move on if they don't match with you. OP says, I agree with this. Even if you weren't obese, you would still be right. Is there anything that has ever helped you push past the laziness? Or anything I should avoid that would make it worse? I would honestly avoid calling it laziness. Eating fast food is addicting, like actually scientifically proven addicting. Our brains literally get a rush of dopamine when we eat crappy foods on a regular basis. It's why it's so hard to lose weight for some people. Update: my fiancé has gotten way too overweight, and I'm now having second thoughts about marriage. Well, here goes. Not a great update. I took a number of suggestions on what to bring up to him and how to have the conversation about my concerns. He did the usual thing of trying to brush it off. I persisted, much more than I have before. Eventually I got my wish. He finally told the truth. Not easily, mind you. This was a several hours long ordeal. He did not want to come clean about anything. He has a weight gain fetish. Not me or someone else gaining weight, which I already knew was a thing, but him gaining weight. He's been doing all of this on purpose for years. He said the beginning was unintentional, just eating too much junk at college. Then he realized he liked it. He also realized if he let himself balloon too much, I might bail. He didn't want to lose me, so he had enough self-control to keep it at a moderate level, until I accepted his proposal last year. That was apparently the green light he needed to throw restraint to the wind and start pursuing this fetish full speed ahead. I never had a single inkling of suspicion the entire time. I guess I can't blame myself for that because dramatic weight gain is usually for the reasons I assumed: depression or stress or bad habits or just getting comfortable and not caring. You never hear of sexual motivations. I still feel like a complete and utter fool, like I got played hard. This was not what I thought I was marrying into. When, if ever, was he going to tell me? He claims he would have when it was the right time, but what does that mean? Next week? I doubt it. Years in the future when we maybe have kids? More likely. Oh, and the reluctance to do anything requiring getting off the internet that I mentioned? That's because he's posting in forums and Discord fetish communities talking about it. All these people share weight gain tips and compare progress pictures of their bellies and write pornographic roleplay stories. I'm truly disgusted. I've obviously been sat right next to him countless times while he's getting off in his own little world. He has even discussed with random strangers how to keep me in the dark. Apparently, the most common suggestion was play dumb and make it into a running joke. So there's my explanation for why he's constantly dismissed anything I said. Unbelievable. This has been going on right under my nose for years. I really cannot fathom how I could be so clueless, and that the person I thought I knew had the goal to not only intentionally make himself obese, but to hide his motivations from me, seek out advice on how to do that, and lie to me over and over when I attempted to talk about my worry. I expressed how I felt seriously betrayed, like our relationship had been built on a false pretense without my knowledge. He did apologize sincerely. He said he would quote-unquote try to lose weight, and I asked him why he is only saying that now. Why did he refuse to discuss, let alone change anything all the other times I asked what was up, leaving me to be confused and worried instead? He didn't have an answer. He just begged me to give him one chance and promised he would stop and get healthier. My problem is, I just don't know if I can believe that. And even if he follows through, I don't know if I can get over being lied to for years. I was so dumbfounded that I asked him to leave today. The conversation was last night, so that I could collect my thoughts. He'll be back tomorrow night. 100% sure I want to call off the engagement. 80% sure I just want to bite the bullet and end the relationship. Screw this. I absolutely love this man. Why did he have to do this? Damn. Not only did he actively deceive you about this, he tried to trap you in a marriage so you would have a harder time leaving when he decided to pursue it. That's pretty unforgivable. There are better people out there who won't play with you like this. Completely agree. He also gaslit her on the advice of strangers. I think this could be viewed as a paraphilia, and if he wants to change, he'll need therapy. To be honest, I wouldn't stick around. He's dedicated years to keeping up this facade, lying to you until he feels you're sufficiently trapped and won't leave him. That's abusive as hell. It's so manipulative and devious. I guess the question is, could you ever trust him again? Can you trust that he doesn't have, or will never have, some covert desire to overfeed you secretly? Personally, I would be unable to. I'd also seek counseling for myself, as you're feeling so conflicted, and a safe space to explore and process your feelings may help. I think the other question is, even if he would never do it again, would the marriage still be successful? The lying aside, and that alone would break a marriage, he apparently desires this enough to lie and deceive her for years. Would he really be able to just give that up and still be happy? I know some people can go without a fetish happily, but this seems more like a compulsion that he struggles to control. So even if he muscled all self-control and never gained weight again, my guess is that he would feel unable to be his true self and grow increasingly more resentful of OP for putting him in that position in the first place. Cue arguments and constant pent-up frustrations after 5 to 10 years of marriage. Not a recipe for success at all. Not just this, but he's based his whole life around this fetish, lowered his life expectancy, massively reduced activity. This isn't just getting whipped by a dominatrix once a week. This changed his whole life. Even if he hadn't treated her like crap, he needs to either find someone who shares this fetish or get long-term help. She should not be with him. 69 Quody Ben 420 reckons, end it. He had plenty of chances to come forth and be honest. Instead, he purposefully kept you in the dark and was planning on not even telling you until you had already committed in the form of marriage and probably kids. Based off of the way that he handled this, I cannot realistically see you being in a trusting, healthy relationship with this guy where both of you are open, honest, and happy. Thank you. This is exactly what the rational part of me tells me. Also what my mum said. I ended a serious relationship last year after I found out my ex kept a big secret from me. If it was so easy for him to lie for years, what else was he lying about? I also asked when he'd tell me the truth, and he said, I never planned on telling you, I was just done. And they also say PM me if you need an ear or a shoulder to cry on, I've been there. Alright, and I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed the content today. If you guys loved watching it as much as I loved making it, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, maybe like the video, who knows. I'd also like to take this time to thank my awesome Patreon and channel members. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be homeless on the streets of Ireland, crying, Irish dancing all over town. It would just be a mess. But no, for real, you guys are up on the screen now. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you personally want to join the club yourself, there are links down in the description below. There's also the join button next to the subscribe button. Small monthly fee, but hey, it goes a long way to help me create more awesome content. Well, with that said, guys, I hope you do have a lovely day, night, sleep, evening, day at work, day at school, whatever you're up to. I hope you keep awesome today. You're looking amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.